Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to the Catholic Lab podcast. My name is Richard Eleke. I'm so excited and happy to have you here listening to the podcast. Thank you all for sharing this podcast with your friends. Thank you for sharing out the trailer. And to create a kind of foundation for what the whole podcast will be about, I've decided to speak today on the love of truth. And this is not just love of any material thing, but ultimately the love of God. In my experience, and I also want to believe you've experienced such, two friends become closer when they tell themselves the truth, even when the truth hurts. The amount of sincerity being shared by two persons determine how far their friendship will go. At least that is what I have experienced. And this is to point out the importance of the truth even in our day-to-day interaction. Nobody wants to associate with liars. We love the fact that our friends tell us the truth, but we should not just limit it to that level. There is someone that we have to love, not because he can only speak the truth and cannot deceive us nor be deceived. We must love him because he is the embodiment of truth. And that person is Jesus Christ, the Son of God. How can someone who does not like the truth claim to love the Son of God? And that is why there's a crisis of truth now in our world. Because this last statement of mine is what many are playing out. Many claim to be Christians, many claim to be followers of Christ, but they want to detach their belief in Christ from their belief in truth, from what truth is. One thing we have to realize is that our adherence to the truth that Christ himself has revealed, and also our adherence to Christ himself, determines our salvation. It speaks a lot about our salvation. And these are not my words. These are his words. He tells us in the Gospel of John that I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one goes to the Father except through me. Now, except through the truth, no one goes to the Father. That is the direct statement of Christ. And also St. Paul tells us in 1 Corinthians 16 that if anyone does not love Jesus Christ, let him be accursed. Now, this simply means that if anyone does not love the truth, since Jesus Christ is the truth, so which means we have to love the truth for us to say that we love Jesus Christ as well. Psalm 117 tells us that the truth of the Lord endures forever. The truth of the Lord is not temporal. It is not just for 1,000 years. It endures forever. So the truth that God reveals in year 1000 is true in the year 2019 and is also true in the year 2020. And so we have to adhere to it no matter what we feel. There's a particular discourse in the scriptures that have really gotten my attention, and that was between Jesus Christ and Pilate in John 18. And why Pilate was saying, do you know I have the power to free you, and so on and so forth. And then he asked Christ, are you a king? And Jesus Christ answered, just as you say, I am a king. For these I was born, and for these I have come into the world to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is on the side of truth hears my voice. And then Pilate said, what is truth? And from that verse on, he told the Jews, I find no fault in this man, and so on and so forth. It was as if Jesus Christ just left him hanging when he asked the question, what is truth? But that is not it. Jesus Christ already made the emphatic statement about his person, that he is the way, the truth, and the life. It was as though Christ was telling Pilate to look closer. Instead of asking the question of what is truth, Pilate should have seen the truth standing right in front of him, if only he had the eyes to see that Jesus is the truth. The question Pilate asked, what is the truth, is a question we still continue to battle with till today. Some claim that truth is subjective, while some say truth is objective. And the difference is that when you say truth is subjective, you mean it is what you define it to be. It is as you perceive it to be. When you say truth is objective on the other end, you say that that truth exists irrespective of how you define it. For example, imagine if I were to climb a particular tree and tell myself that the law of gravity would not work if I'm to jump down from the tree and that I will float in the air. If I believe that truth is objective, it means that when I jump, the law of gravity will work and I will break my legs. But if I believe that truth is subjective, it means that if I'm to jump, then I should float in the air. But we both know that it is a fact that the law of gravity will surely work if I jump from the tree unaided, without a parachute or anything to aid me, to allow me to float in the air. When Adolf Hitler decided to define truth his own way, it led to the death of millions of Jews when he declared them to be non-beings and then inferior, and killed a lot of Jews. When we today as well also try to redefine what abortion is, rather than join hands together to say it is evil, many say abortion is okay and try to justify it under different context. We'll still come back to all this when we talk about morality and how the Catholic Church has defended the truth down to the ages since Christ established the church, and how she still continues to do that till date, irrespective of the pressure from within and outside the church to change her grounds on what she believes to be true and go in line with what the world is saying or how the world is defining all these things. Today's episode is just to create an overview of what the podcast is about, and I hope I achieved that. I'm sorry for the imperfections in the audio, and I promise to improve on a daily basis and with the future episodes that will be uploaded. Thank you for listening this far, and I would really appreciate your shares and comments on our social media platforms. And please do well to subscribe again if you have not on our podcast platforms. Thank you very much, and God bless.